Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone from around the world, around the interwebs, the World Wide Web, who is joining us today for episode 4. We've now been doing this for a month of Decrypted. Let's go. Four episodes. I'm pretty excited about that. Today we're going to be jumping into some really cool topics. Micropayments. OpenAI did a really cool keynote, so we're going to be talking about some of the new things that have been implemented there. And of course, market's been doing some crazy stuff, and there is a very weird but awesome prediction that came out over the past couple of days, which we'll also be jumping into. But before we get into all of that, I must do my due diligence as a crypto person and introduce you guys to my two beautiful co-hosts, Mr. Jack O'Halloran and Stan Kladko. This week, we're going to mix things up. Stan, how you doing?
Yeah, actually, I have like an interruption to make. Like, you guys, I actually found this baseball hat, and it turns out that's the last one. I actually asked our people, and they said there's no baseball hats, and I found one at home. This is absolutely the last one. So one of our listeners is gonna get the baseball hat, and people asked us to burn something, so I'm actually gonna burn it live a little bit, so you can still wear it. So this is like fire.
What the fuck?
Burning the hat. You guys want to burn more? Okay, I think that's good enough. That's a burned hat. And also, I'm going to write something nice. There's actually a place you can write something nice. So I'm going to write something nice to the person that gets this hat. Maybe I'm gonna write a poem, maybe something, whatever. I think about this. But you're gonna get this great hat. That's the only one remaining. It's pretty old, I think. We don't actually do them anymore. So it's very easy. You want to get the hat? Just retweet the stream, retweet it, and in the retweet, in your native language, just to say something about Scale birthday. Scale had 5 years birthday. We're all celebrating. Just say something nice in your native language because you want to actually know about our community. Retweet the stream, say something nice about Scale in your native language, and then we'll actually have a drawing, and you'll win the hat. And trolls, don't even try. We won't allow trolls. But if you're not a troll, you'll win a hat.
So so before we started, Stan said he was going to give away a hat, right? So I was like, okay, cool, awesome, let's give away a hat. He didn't mention he was going to set said hat on fire. I'm unsure on how to progress with this. Jack, please help me.
I think it's brilliant. So when you get the hat, it's not just a normal hat. You can see the burn mark. You see that Stan wrote you something. It's a special hat. Stan, I didn't know that either. That's creative. That's good. That's good. That's a Ben. You gotta, we gotta give our guy props here.
Major props. Very unexpected. Ole. But Jack,
you never know what you're gonna get on Decrypted. Okay,
never.
We're gonna surprise you. We're gonna surprise each other. It's great.
Yes, surprising each other. Jack, you are in a different background. What are you up to, man?
I'm in the Scale office. I'm in the Ferry building. In a Shack 15. So working down here today. It's SF Tech Week. And I got to tell you, it's unbelievable how many people are here. Like we travel all the time to these conferences. This is like not just a crypto conference. It's crypto and AI and, all types of tech, but AI and crypto seem to be dominating. So there's a ton of meetups. I'm going to the Coinbase X402 meetup later. Going to Silicon Valley Bank right after this. The second we're done, I'm running to Silicon Valley Bank and I'm judging a pitch competition 15 minutes after we finish. So I got to literally run there. But it's kind of fun, usually Stan and I travel all over and go to these conferences, and it's kind of fun when it's in your hometown because it's just a lot easier. You don't have to sleep in a hotel room. But there's a lot of people here.
If you see Jack running across San Francisco, definitely run up to him and ask for a photo because he's got time to stop and take it with you. he is definitely not
We'll
business.
do it.
Incredible. Yeah. No, I mean the San Francisco's it's Tech Week, right? So there's lots of really cool stuff that's coming out. Obviously, OpenAI had their keynote. They released some cool stuff. Lots of interesting stuff coming out in the world of AI with the likes of Google. They released something today. And also opened up Opal to an additional 15 countries, which is their kind of automated workflow manager. And just lots and lots of cool, innovative stuff coming out from AI and blockchain, X402, everything. It's awesome. And kind of like jumping into our first topic, Google also recently announced something interesting called Google Offer Wall. Stan, what's Offer Wall?
No, have no idea. It's I think agent-to-agent protocol, correct?
Kind of, yeah. I thought Sam was.
All right, send it back to you, Ben. You better
back to me. Okay. So Offer Wall, going back to kind of this idea of X402. Is the ability for Google Ad Manager to implement a paywall in which content can be shared via an X402 kind of micropayment method. At the moment, we spoke about it yesterday on Scale School with relation to monetization for websites is slowly but surely it's going down and down and down, right? We are having instead of people going to the websites, seeing an ad, and the website provider getting monetization that way. These AI agents and crawlers are just pulling the information, and websites are losing out on hundreds, if not thousands of billions of dollars, right? Over time. So. This is a way, Offer Wall, it gives publishers more options to monetize their audience and incentivize, this peer-to-peer crawling. Instead of blocking AI agents, which you can do from websites, they got to pay.
Yeah, so something cool about this. So just to give a little more, they've already tested this with 1,000 publishers. I think everyone's been there where you're like, hey, you go to some website, some news, and they're like, sign up for $4.99 a month or pay $42 this year and access for the next 12 months. And then you always forget to unsubscribe. And are you ever going to go back there? And so I got to be honest, I never pay at the paywall. I'm just going to pay and I'll forget, like, this is dumb. And I use Apple News, so I get a ton of news anyways. And most things aren't under the paywall, but this lets you like go there and you can actually make a decision, watch an ad. And that ad, like, they make sure you're captive. So I think they can sell a lot more for that ad, or you already have your money in there. And this is where like crypto will come in and micropayments and all the things we're talking about with X402. I don't know if they have this yet, but they will. But you just hit one button and guess what? It charges your balance like 0.021 cents or something. Like, it's way more, and if it's just, you pay for byte. And I think, the world, it's cool because I think it's like emblematic of this bigger change happening where we're going to pay for things in an automated fashion and in a way that like, we don't have to think about it. Because right now, like $4.99, that's not a lot, but I have to go input my credit card details and load this stuff up and like, and it's cumbersome. I understand. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I have like a confession to make. I'm working on a new product prototype. I tweeted about this like last week. It used to be called the X402 proxy, but then the name is like, what kind of a name is that? So came up with a name. The name is Machine Pay. And then yesterday, I was trying to create a logo for it, surely together with ChatGPT. And so I was like thinking, what kind of a logo you can actually have, like a funny logo. And I tried different ones, but then I was driving in Lisbon, and people were like showing this like tricks and asking for money. So I decided that the logo will be like a robot, like begging for money. So actually, you guys, if you want, you can go to GitHub and see the project is named Machine Pay. It's under scale repo, and there's a logo there. The robot sitting with a mug and a forward or two written on the mug. So the product actually exactly the idea for the product is to be like super simple and actually allow people to do exactly that. Whatever you have, you will be able to instantly sell, whether a file, API, a video, pretty much anything. So I want to make it really simple for people. So you could actually use a different source, your like local file, maybe GitHub, maybe Google Docs, whatever, or blog if you're a blogger. So basically, you'll run this, and it is going to be a very simple turnkey solution. You run this program, and it will provide X40 services, and then there will be UI, so you'll be able to decide how much you charge. So that's all going to be really simple. And so there will be open source version on GitHub. You'll be able to run it yourself, but we'll also have a cloud service for people that don't want to do it. And the cloud service name, I registered like domain name, machinepay.cloud. Very easy, machinepay.cloud. So, and then the key feature is that it's going to use Coinbase differently because Coinbase is the leader. So people will be able to use Coinbase, but you will also be able to use Scale as a confidential solution. So Coinbase is not confidential, Scale is confidential, and Fair is confidential. So we'll be able to use Fair/Scale confidentiality. And then you will be able to aggregate with Coinbase. So if you are on Coinbase, you'll still be able to use it, but aggregated payments will go there. And then the small payments actually happen on Scale. So they will be all private and confidential. So that's really exciting. And actually, that's why, to be frank, like last week, that's the only thing I've been working on. Like I wake up in the morning. Today I'm working from home. I was coding it. I almost actually missed this show. I mean, guys, to tell you this, it's like at the last moment I was like trying to get the link. It's just because this thing is really exciting. And on GitHub there are many other projects. So the entire process, the entire like field seems to be having lots of momentum. And at Scale we positioned uniquely because we have free transactions and confidentiality. So literally we can do it way better than others. But we'll actually probably be neutral and also allow other chains like on our maybe Solana, maybe Polygon. We are good friends with Polygon. So, but you'll also be able to use Scale and Fair will be confidential.
Yeah. And what I like about this, I just want to call out, like, if you think about blockchains are evolving. It used to be you just you build blockchain tech, and then you hopefully a bunch of people build stuff on top of you. But where we see a lot of the success happening now, like if you look, like two projects that are getting a lot of attention, Hyperliquid and like Plasma. Plasma has a neobank they're putting on top of it. Hyperliquid has like the most popular perp DEX. And what we're finding is like blockchains, when they have like really strong vertical applications on top of it that are really deeply connected to the protocol, they are able to just grab tons of market share. So what we're doing, and I say this because we have so many of you on Twitter that are part of the community. Sometimes we say we're doing stuff and you're like, what are you doing? Just talk about Scale. But this has to do with Scale. It's R&D, okay? So that's what I like about it. We need to do R&D, research and development and innovation, and not just at the protocol level, but on top of that. So Stan's building something that could be absolutely transformational for Scale.
Absolutely, Jack. And actually, the entire driving force is, we've been discussing it for the last couple of weeks because it's a new thing. But we have an opportunity to drive literally millions of people to Scale, and this is kind of a lifetime opportunity because we already had this like chains with lots of transaction capacity, but we needed people. And X402 protocol is exactly made for us because with Scale and Fair, we can accept infinite number of transactions, and we can make them confidential. So that's kind of the moment for us. But to do this, we also need to have the application, the vertical application, to drive people to our chain. Because if we just have a chain, how people are going to use it? They will need to have software anyway to manage these payments, to set the prices. So if we release this thing, this software, the software, I'm sure, will become the leader in the industry. And then people will actually come to the software and they will see that scale is the best and the most confidential. So that's the key. And that's I think it's kind of a new thinking people are having, that blockchain itself is not enough. A startup needs to have users and market. And in the past, it was great. Everyone had just a project. But now we need to go vertical, as you said, Jack, and actually, and I think X402 is just made for us. I mean, we've been talking to many partners, and something which not everything I can share, but many people are excited. In all industries, excited about 402 and about scale.
Yeah, and I mean, you could see this living and being a part of Google's Paymaster, right? Their paywall.
Right.
So once we have this built, we're going to work on making sure that it lives and we get distribution through other channels. Because if you think about it, we actually have something really differentiated. It's confidential payments. We talked about this last week, this barista check, if I pay for a cup of coffee, does a barista know, how much money does that guy have in his account, And so confidentiality is a huge thing. Privacy is a huge thing. And we're going to be able to do it in a way that's really compliant too, that businesses will want to use. One other thing I like, Stan, is that usually in crypto, we name things, all these weird nebulous things, and then they never get any adoption. Machine pay is very literal. Machine pay, done, it's good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I think, it creates lots of excitement also in our team, because we see ultimately that people were trying to do crypto payments for a long time, and everyone was waiting for this hockey stick moment. Looks like the moment arrived. That's what I say. I think payments, micropayments, are going to be the most important technological driver of this new market, because the market is Bitcoin is up, but there was no technological driver. I think mostly it was speculation. But now with X402, there's a reason. I think there's a deep technology which could be implemented, and the potential is just fantastic to change the society. It's huge.
Yeah. Let me tell you a little. I got a little sidebar. Okay, little scale lore for people. Okay, this is gonna be a little fun. We'll make sure that we get back on track. But I just want to say, Stan's actually really good at branding and naming. So when we were naming scale, this is back in 2018. I was doing this trail run in the Presidio, and I was listening to, I think, Chris Dixon at A16Z and Adam Draper at Boost VC, and Boost VC later became, one of the VCs behind Scale. But they said the word scale in the podcast at least 300 times. Scale. Well, they need scale. You need scale. The blockchains can't scale. Scale. And I called Stan and I was like, I got a name. Scale Zen. It sounds like Scale Zen. What? No developer is going to want, let me deploy to Scale Zen. It's too long. Let's just call it Scale. And I was like, that's a really good point. But then I was Googling, I was if you type scale in blockchain, you get a gazillion results. But if you type scale with a K, you don't get anything. So I was hey, Stan, how about this? But anyway, Stan's good at the naming and the branding. And that's how scale came about for all of you.
Jack, actually, it looks like, for X402, the name scale is also perfect, because we had always the name scale, but there was not so much of scale because the entire blockchain industry didn't have so many users. They were people speculating on the market, but regular people don't really use crypto so much, right?
Yeah.
So now with X4, we're waiting for the moment, and we've been pretty early, I think. When we started, there was very few transactions. Ethereum had 10 transactions per second, or 1 million per day. But there are 8 billion people in the world, which means that was a tiny, share. But I think X402 can actually go absolutely. It'll be a revolution, literally, because once someone has it on the phone, once you have people actually having these things on their smartphones, then it will it will be just a revolution, because imagine you have your smartphone and then you go all over your places and you pay for everything. You pay for parking, you pay for this, you pay for that. It's just so much easier. And people are credit cards. The worst thing about credit cards is that they get rejected, And like I'm like a digital nomad. I go back and forth all the time, and I hate this. It's terrible because I have like this like different cards, and I want to pay literally for a cup of coffee. And in different countries, you start like randomly like like using your cards, and it doesn't get accepted, and then people think that you're like something is bad for you. Why is your card like denied? So it's terrible. There's this card denial issue. You cannot really use things. So once you'll have crypto on your phone, that won't get denied. Just not being denied is going to be the feature, I think, of this crypto, which will make it way better than credit cards. And so I'm really optimistic. I think like we already started this hockey stick, and 2026 is going to be the year for this. And so we're developing FAIR really, really intense. The team is developing FAIR. I'm sort of developing machine pay, but it's also important. But 2026 will be FAIR plus scale plus machine pay. That's going to be our direction. I think we had like several discussions, and the team is all behind it because it's real and it's used by people.
And if you're interested in the machine pay, I did drop the link.
It's still very early.
5 minutes ago, I was trying to get in there. In the comments to the video. One of the things that I actually just hit me was, and I did some ChatGPTing, right? There is roughly 150 to 250 billion website visits per day as of 2025. Let's say 1% of that is AI, which is in particular what X402 is going to be mostly around, right? Is AI searching to this thing, right? Mm-hmm. That would be 1 billion transactions a day. Mm-hmm. What current blockchain out there can handle 1 billion transactions a day? You're with gas fees, because your gas fees on 1 billion transactions a day on a blockchain that just can't deal with that level of throughput is going to be astronomical. You are gonna have this. It's gonna be like, you can start like X402 now. Like, let's say you were to do X402 on Solana, right? I mean, Solana would crash on day 2. No offense, Solana, you would. But gas fees as well are just going to go like that, because it's unsustainable. So you need a blockchain that has insane throughput with customization. Ooh, I'm in sales mode. Fully customization, insane throughput, and gas free. And that's the thing that's super interesting, right? Is like 1 billion transactions a day we could be seeing if X402 takes over like we think it will.
Yeah, you know what? I think, Stan, you have a good point. We didn't ever really get credit for scale because there wasn't a scaling issue. There's always been, ever since the first blockchains came after Ethereum, enough block space. There's been more block space than demand for block space. But if you think about it, if we get to this point of micropayments and we actually, like Falcor says, have 1 billion a day, a blockchain can't scale unless it has horizontal scalability. Like Scale, for example, as more nodes join, we can create more capacity. But that is so valuable, but the market, I don't think, has valued it enough yet, or general, business and society, because we just haven't had the demand. But these things turn quick, and like all of a sudden we might be like, oh geez, these monolithic L1s can't support this. And then you've got Scale, supported by the FAIR L1. That's why the two things exist together, is, we need a big L1 that has confidentiality and privacy, but we also need these extensible, horizontal, scalable layers on top to handle things like this.
Absolutely. And in fact, Jack, the privacy of this layer, like of the second layer, is more important, because let's take the example of like coffee, right? You go to Starbucks, you buy coffee, other people buy coffee. All of these microtransactions, people would hate to see them. I mean, that's like too much invasion of privacy. It's crazy, right? So they will be all on scale chain. They will be all confidential. But then people may actually want to use Coinbase, because Coinbase is a huge company. They have USDC. They pioneered X402. So what's going to happen then is that you'll be paid on scale, like you are Starbucks, right? And then will accumulate some amount of money. And let's say you accumulated like $10,000. And so then you will withdraw this money from Scale to, say, Coinbase. And this one is going to be public, but it will not have so much information. It will only have information of like how much money like Starbucks made. But Starbucks probably is a public company. It publishes it anyway. So the value of aggregation is critical. And so also for transactions, the fact that you can add scale chains dynamically matters a lot, because Starbucks starts with like a single chain, they will need another chain, and it can actually go really fast. And then like if you are Starbucks, you cannot just like have new technology deployed like in 10 stores. Maybe you can like pilot one store, but then you have to actually use it everywhere. So imagine like suddenly you need to like have these thousands of stores. You immediately need to run like multiple chains. It's just not only for performance, but also for security and for stability. Like you don't want, if something crashes, you don't want your entire like chain of Starbucks crash, right? So actually having multiple chains also provides a higher level of stability potential for the business. So
yeah, hey Stan, talk a little bit about, I think this is interesting to think about how Scale could work with Base. Is this like, we take Scale Manager, we're able to deploy that on Base and then run other nodes and chains on top of it, right? Like, and then hey, the chains can still get paid, Scale still monetizes. It doesn't necessarily have to be just on Ethereum, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a connecting the dots moment, like Steve Jobs used to say, like, because we had this IMA interchain management messaging agent for a long time. That's the best bridge you can imagine. It's deployable like literally in seconds to any Ethereum compatible chain. But we've been always like friends with Ethereum, before we decided to at least kind of do the new thing. So AMA was always deployed on Ethereum, but in fact it works on any EVM compatible chain. So you can take a Scale now in seconds. In seconds you connect it to Coinbase. We can connect it to Polygon, with a little bit more work to Solana, but the bridge is fully decentralized and has been like developed like for years. It's very stable. So if we connect to Coinbase, then the customer will decide, micropayments will go to Scale. If the customer wants to move money to Coinbase, like when the money is accumulated, it is fine. We understand that Coinbase, is investing a lot into this protocol. We want to be friends with them, definitely. But actually, it provides us lots of. Really in this case, we are like friends to Coinbase because they don't have confidentiality, right? Their chain is full. They are at maximum capacity, and so they don't have zero gas fees. So it's actually, we are actually serving as a partner to Coinbase and Solana, for instance, or like people like Polygon. We would actually be happy. I didn't talk to Anatoly on Sandeep yet, but I think we'll be happy to connect to them too. But all of this is really exciting, I think, because the industry found something which actually generates lots of transactions, lots of meaning.
Yeah, no, 100%. The industry is booming and moving. And as we boom and move, I'm going to move us onto the next topic. Hey, segues.
Oh my God.
Jack. By the way, we used to have ambitions to have like 5 topics, and then we realized that one or two is probably better because we're gonna.
I feel like we could have done one all day. But,
lots of fun.
Guys, he's got the fire back out. I don't know. Jack, you sent us something very, very interesting yesterday, which was in obviously the market's doing some weird stuff at the moment. We hit another new Bitcoin all-time high. Feel like we're saying that like every week, every other week. But you also mentioned that there was this very interesting prediction that came out of Van Eck, head of digital asset research. I was wondering, stage is yours, my friend.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this. And hey, sometimes it's fun here to talk about the markets and Bitcoin is, like I said, Bitcoin leads the way. And sometimes when it does really well, it sucks all the air out of the room for all the other tokens. everyone else is like, Bitcoin's doing well. How come the alt market's not doing well? That usually happens. And then the mid small cap, alt market then will then fast follow once kind of people are satiated with the Bitcoin growth. And it kind of ebbs and flows and has this little pattern during these October type months. But what's interesting about this Bitcoin prediction is that, one, this isn't just like some random guy. This is somebody who, Van Eck is one of the largest financial institutions, and like I think one of the on the forefront of Bitcoin and like crypto asset. They even have like a really top tier venture capital arm that does early stage. They are mainly late stage and like holding huge positions. Okay, so and they've got a great reputation. So this Van Eck analyst predicted Bitcoin's going to hit, I think, like 644K or 684K, something like that, 600 and X amount in like, not too long of a time horizon. And the reason why was because they have a thesis that it's just very simple. Bitcoin will reach half the market cap of gold. Okay. And I was listening to Bloomberg News last night. Sometimes that's fun to watch. And they're interviewing this woman about gold. And she's saying, well, the interesting thing about gold is gold will never produce revenue. If you want to own NVIDIA stock or AMD or Google, you're concerned about earnings, right? How much earnings are they making? And then that's what the value is. But gold, the only thing that matters is how much will the next person pay if you're willing to sell. Okay. And for gold, you might be like, you know what? It's not giving me any money. It's just a place to store value. And all of a sudden the market for gold might be way down and you might have bought it at 100 and you can only sell it at 50. Okay. Well, Bitcoin is very similar. Bitcoin's not producing revenue. Yeah, there's some fees that kick out to miners. The thing about Bitcoin is just what's the next person going to pay? And it's a place to store value. And so his thesis was at some point, 50% of the Bitcoin will reach half the market share of gold. And gold is like at, X trillion dollars right now. It's been booming. And they think, Bitcoin's just a more efficient, elegant, easy way to manage store value assets. As gold, who even knows where the gold is? Like we have gold ETF, like, okay, I have this gold ETF. Like where the hell is the gold? We at least can see where all the Bitcoin is. So anyways, what do you guys think? I think it's a crazy prediction. I think there's some merit to it, but means there's a ton of growth.
I have a funny information for you guys. I read recently that I think there is like $24 trillion of gold in the world. I mean, I think like something like 20 trillion. But the funny thing about this is that majority of this is not actually owned by governments or like gold reserve. It's owned by people, by jewelry. So essentially, but people that get married, wedding rings, right? Like you have huge countries like China, India, you have people buying wedding rings, buying all other kinds of gold jewelry. So the funny thing is there's so many people in the world that, the most of the gold in the world is actually in jewelry. That's kind of really funny. But I agree with you, Jack. I think, half of market, it has to be comparable to gold, at least, I think. Because it has definitely things which are way better. Like if you own gold, and for instance, you want to take a loan based on the collateral of this gold, right? How do you prove that you have gold? So the huge thing about Bitcoin versus gold is security. If I tell you that I own like 1 zillion like tons of gold, how are you going to prove it, right? Check it. If I tell you that I have like 1 zillion Bitcoin, I just send you address and I show that I own the wallet. So the fact that you can prove things make the asset way better for finance because you have an asset, it's store of value, you're actually holding it for a long time, but you can use it to obtain loans and way more complex, financial instruments. So because of that, I think Bitcoin is definitely gonna be comparable to gold. There's a funny joke. There's a guy in Ethereum Foundation that said that Ethereum is going to survive World War IV or World War III. They said his name is Justin Drake, and I made this joke. I said, during like World War III, the cryptocurrency will be cigarettes. Because we know this, right? Like people go to jail and prison, and like what's the currency there? Cigarettes. So, so maybe, guys, if you are preparing for the future, buy Bitcoin, but also maybe buy some cigarettes. You never know. I don't know if Ethereum is going to survive World War III.
Yeah.
Cigarettes probably like a better.
Cigarettes will be the next stable coin.
Yeah.
God.
But I agree, like Bitcoin is, I think it's going to be at least as important as gold. How much time it takes, we don't know, right? So that's the problem. I think it's not an asset which is early now. Like people that join Bitcoin movement now, they're buying an asset which is already has pretty significant time. So it may go up a lot, but before going up, it may also go down a lot. So it's not if you average, if you like average out like over 30 years and buy a little bit of Bitcoin every month, just a little, maybe $100 of Bitcoin, that's probably almost guaranteed is gonna be a good investment. But you need to average out for many years, and you should expect to use this like 30 years from now. Which means people usually advise that this kind of assets, you buy, like if you want to invest for your retirement, you buy like 5%. It's more, but I think if this is for Bitcoin is still for people that want to retire. If you are young and want to retire, it's very good for you, I think, to buy $100 of Bitcoin over the next like 30 years. It will go up and down, but almost inevitably in 30 years it will be up.
Not financial advice.
No financial advice, yeah.
Yeah, and it's and I think you're right. It will, like, my guess is by the time it hits 644K, it'll have gone up, and then it'll dip below 100. It'll go up and it'll dip below 100 2 to 3 times before. It'll have like these big iterations, these big swings, and it's a horrible investment to day trade. It's a horrible investment to hold for like 1 to 3 years, but it's a phenomenal place to just have something that you're not going to. You have at least a 10-year horizon where you don't need liquidity.
DCA. Dollar cost average. No financial advice from anything any of us have just said. But no, it's going to be exciting.
Ben, I feel like we got to talk about this. Stan sent this link about the GPT store. Stan, you want to talk about it a little bit? Because that's like interesting. And I've got some questions, and I think it's AI topic that, tangential to crypto, but go for it.
Yeah, I think I got so excited because I'm doing this the machine pay, right? And like new features are literally coming every day. I'm like trying to like build a prototype, but new things are coming. So it's an ideal thing for machine pay, right? If you are an author, you're producing some content, and let's say ChatGPT finds your article, then ChatGPT will pay for it. So you will be able to tell ChatGPT, go and find me 5 interesting like articles about something. You maybe like you might want to read, and maybe you will even like not pay for it yourself. But if you have like 10 cents, and you pay 1 cent per article, you won't even know. You'll just give 10 cents to ChatGPT and say, go and buy me 10 interesting things to read. So this kind of opens up micropayments plus AI, because AI can do purchases for you. If you constantly purchase one cent things, you get tired. So this is something which you can totally delegate to your AI agent. Just buy something interesting. And so we are going to definitely, one of the first demos will be with ChatGPT. I hope they have the platform, but once they have released the platform, we're gonna really go after the ChatGPT, because you'll kind of go around the world and tell ChatGPT things, and it will pay for you. That's kind of the next thing. Is just you won't even know the price. You will trust ChatGPT to make reasonable decisions on tiny purchases, like up to 10 cents, and it just will save so much of your time too. So. Like now you're reading lots of news, and lots of news that you're reading are junk. And so if you pay 10 cents, but you actually get content and like interesting things, your experience goes better. People will pay, I think. So it's a huge moment where AI and payments go together.
Yeah, and Stan, so just to like be more clear about what this is. So now you used to be able to have your own GPT, or you'd go to some app and then they'd use ChatGPT on the back end. Now you can actually just chat with ChatGPT and interact with the apps right within the interface, right? And the developer can just plug in, and it's just, you basically don't need to go to Spotify. You can just ask ChatGPT, hey, like, play this playlist for me in Spotify, or come up with a cool playlist. And so the same thing could be, this lives, and these payments all live and breathe in an interconnected manner through the apps in ChatGPT and through the machine pay app.
Well, that's fantastic.
Right?
That's fantastic. It's like, like pretty much anything you want to pay for, you will be able to like talk to Amazon probably. And but micropayments, I think it's like, if New York Times, like, I like New York Times, but I just don't like subscribing. I would pay like for New York Times per article. I might actually I would be paying more, literally, I just don't like subscribing. So there are people that the New York Times are losing just because they don't like the model. If I see something interesting, I would pay like 1 cent for it, right? So, but since I have no ability to do it now with ChatGPT, maybe ChatGPT tells me, okay, here's the New York Times article. The New York Times article app tells me, right? I have this interesting thing for you, but it's paid, and ChatGPT buys from the app for you and then gives the article to you. So it's a huge moment, I think.
I've got a great one for you guys. All right, going back to my scale shell. So obviously we have a great partner called Xord, who does social sentiment analysis and storing. Right, they do billions upon billions of storing of tweets, YouTube videos, all of this, right? So imagine a world in which you could go into ChatGPT and say, hey, give me the most bullish tweets on crypto in the past 30 minutes. And then that is Xord's on an MCP server. You then have that AI agent API call. And let's say it's costing you like 1 penny for every tweet that it's going to pull. Like, those type of things like are actually extremely important, right? It's when you have people that have this information that you want to get access to, but these people don't want to go sell all their information to ChatGPT or to Perplexity or to Grok or anyone. They want to keep that information for themselves. And this is a great way for them to just pull in information. And I could definitely see a world in which, we start to see kind of like, the API-based companies, like I know CoinGecko just released their API, likes of Xord, from a social perspective, from a sentiment analysis perspective. Like, imagine, putting together a agentic framework, right? Which was something that ChatGPT released yesterday or the day before. Which is like step 1, finds token price change over 20% in the last 10 minutes, right? Then pulls it over to the ChatGPT, which uses the Xord application to look for sentiment analysis of those social media posts. Is it positive? Is it negative? Then links it back into a Binance or a Coinbase, and then puts in a buy or a sell order dependent upon the sentiment analysis and the price change. And you've just built yourself a on the fly agentic trading application, which uses social sentiment analysis, charting, and overall kind of public opinion. And you're good. And like, these are the world in which we're going to get to, but you don't want to go and pay, $10,000 a month for a Twitter API access. Because you don't, or these other large companies with astronomically priced API, X402, and why it's so important with the likes of Fair and Byte is with the encryption, with the data encryption, you can be sure people can't actually see that information, right? So as if you are a merchant That felt like a very old word to say. A merchant of information. You can just pull this information, and you can be sure that no one else is going to go onto the blockchain and look and see, oh, I can piggyback. You can almost front run information on this information. That's not going to be an issue anymore because you have Byte to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's absolutely true.
So, hey, Stan, okay, interesting topic about like, building an AI. So I have to say, like, usually it's really clear now, if you're not an AI, like where the mode is. Like, okay, here's our defensibility. If you're building a new app, like here's my differentiated value. Here's my product market fit. So I see all these people building things in the AI space. So like building apps that can make, a thing that can make apps, a thing that could make games, a thing that could, be a store for AI apps. All of a sudden, the big players like Gemini and ChatGPT and others, Claude, like they keep coming out with these new releases and they completely disintermediate all this innovation. So there's these people building stuff and then they're like, oh shoot, ChatGPT just released exactly what we do in the core product. So I'm kind of thinking, like, what are your thoughts as far as like what some strategy should be building an AI? Like, because if you're building these like frameworks, you're going to get destroyed. You almost have to build like, verticalized, tools or products, or you're just going to get blown up. What do you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely, Jack. I can give you an example. I was living in Silicon Valley during the boom time of like 1999. At the time, there were so many companies doing like network routers and switches with billions of dollars. And all of them ultimately got acquired by Cisco or, just died. So there's absolutely like, if people are too close to like ChatGPT, if they're doing something that ChatGPT may do in the future, at best they will get acquired and become a feature of ChatGPT. So it's very natural for ChatGPT, as Google did for search. There's no other search engine. For ChatGPT, it's very, very natural to also be the chat, for most purposes, for most people. So if people, but need to think what ChatGPT doesn't do, and it does not do creativity. So the next big thing may be not building something like ChatGPT. It's probably too commoditized. That's it. There's so much competition, and actually they're spending so much money. Some of these companies may actually go bankrupt, right? They say like they need $2 trillion to build data centers. So this industry is pretty capital intense and also hard. But if you figure a way to actually push creativity to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT cannot do creative things, creative music, creating text. So actually X402 payments may be the thing, because what ChatGPT needs is creative writing, right? Creative images, creative ideas, creative engineering. So if you build something where people use their creativity to provide data to ChatGPT so it enhances itself. The only way ChatGPT can enhance itself is by like sucking in creativity from people, because it's not creative by itself, right? You use it all the time. You see, it's pretty like dumb, in a sense that it just knows everything, but if it doesn't know, it can't really do anything. So that's probably that's where I think it maybe the new economy will be people producing creative things and getting paid by ChatGPT. It may be that's maybe the world of the future. You write an interesting novel or like a screenplay and you feed it to ChatGPT, or like I write like some interesting idea for like a software like design, or everything creative and interesting. The reason why it cannot do it is because creativity, you have unlimited choices. So creativity is about choosing. You have like 20 different like choices and like sliders, and you need to put each slider in the correct position, like in music, right? To create a music style, like, like Taylor Swift. You have so many sliders, but you need to pick every slider, every knob in the right way to create your style. And it's something that the AI cannot do. AI can do things like Taylor Swift once it's heard like 100 songs from Taylor Swift. But creating something cool but new, There was never even a single example like that.
It's almost like you need to have a studio model instead of just a pure startup model, because like studios have a category and they test all this different stuff. Like game studios are like, let's just build these 6 games because we don't know which one's going to work. If you're building AI stuff and you're just building one thing and you're just doing it for 6 months and all of a sudden they literally release the exact same functionality as you for free in the app, you're done. You know, so you have to be like a layer up, creative, testing all this stuff, and you know, and then one's going to hit. I think that's the model. And then I'm interested too because I think a lot of these builders are going to find this natural connection into micropayments for the products they're building, right? And so the stuff we're building, that's why I'm bringing this up again. Is people are like, "Why are you talking about this? What does that have to do with scale?" Well, here's the connection. You're going to need to make small payments for a lot of these apps because guess what? It's a machine operating on your behalf, okay? And that's where we come in.
Absolutely. And it actually sounds weird, but that's probably going to be the economy of the future, because if all of the mundane tasks are going to be taken by AI and robots, you know, I think like in 10 years, I mean, robots are still a little bit stuck, but in 10 years, I think they will be okay. 10 years from now, everything will be done either by AI or robots, all of the like boring things. So people need to think how they're going to live. And idea where in this economy of abundance, you get paid for ideas. I think that's pretty good. Even if you get paid for an idea which turns out to be not implemented, it's kind of added to ChatGPT. It's like an eternal source of wisdom. So if you're pushing something new, creative, like into ChatGPT, it will stay there forever. Think about this. It's crazy, right? So it's just like almost like a gas, like into a car. You need to keep on pushing these streams of gas into this car.
Yeah, like Gemini just released this thing called Storybook, which is really cool. You can make like children's books or books like really easily. You just give it like, you know, context and prompts. Say, hey, do something like this. And they're animated and they like read it. And I was thinking to myself, these are cool. And there's so many things people are going to make, but like if someone tried to start a business just selling this, it wouldn't be successful. But what if you could just micro pay to, I want to, you know, pay 2 cents to read my kids this thing that's trending. Like micro payments, I think social creativity platforms are going to be like the next generation of these apps. Like, you know, hey, instead of trying to sell children's books, sell a platform where people can create things and then get paid if they're a top creator, right? And no one's going to pay $10 for a children's book that someone took 4 minutes to build, but they might pay 4 cents. And if you have enough of those, guess what? There's a huge market.
Absolutely.
That's actually what I presented to in Scale School yesterday, right? Was this idea of potentially, right? Xbox Game Pass, right, is like $15 a month, like $20 a month. You get access to every single game on the Xbox Game Pass. And I said, then why don't you do almost like an inverse model, which is almost a pay as you go, where you know you get access to every single game, but you set like 10 cents a minute. And you can jump in. You don't have to go subscribe to something. You don't have to go do that. You don't have to go and pay $80, $90, $100 on a game. You go and pay maybe you only enjoy. For example, I bought a game like a couple of years ago called The Raft, and it was like 40 quid. I played it for 30 minutes, and I hated every moment of it. And now I'm almost scared to buy new games that I don't know. But if you had a model where it's like, hey, pay, you know, you had a balance, like your top right, and you had this game interface where you picked a game, you downloaded a game, you got charged every X amount of time, and if you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just think about TV, guys. Like we all like used to TV, but how bad it is. You know, you pay for cable TV, you get like 200 channels. You switch these channels, lots of them are total junk. You're like, why did I pay? I'm paying for this, but you're paying subscription. It's a package, right? So when you're doing this package subscription, you don't differentiate between good movies, bad movies. They just like stream all of everything to you. Wouldn't it be way better if AI would actually pay per movie, like, and then, you know, and then people that do good movies, then they win, because otherwise just mediocre stuff. Basically, it creates like this mediocre stuff, because if you're on Netflix, you know, Netflix pays so much to you. There are a monopoly. So that actually, I mean, people, I mean, why? I mean, they just create the things that people actually watch. But if you are able to pay, if users are able to pay for creative things, then people will make much more money if they do something interesting, I think. So subscription is terrible because of that.
So hey guys, unscripted. This is not scripted. I just want to idea. Hey, if you're a serious builder out there, if you're somebody who's interested in building one of these, marketplaces with ChatGPT or like game marketplaces or something that will use machine pay to make these micropayments, DM us and let us know. And hey, we will help you get funding. If you're really good, we'll probably invest in you. And guess what? We'll help you build. We'll give you tons of resources. But this is the future. We need people that see the playing field and say, hey, like, I don't want to just create and sell books. I need to create a place for people to make books and have people pay the amount they're actually probably willing to pay for it and build that up at scale. So Stan, what do you think? Like real time, unscripted?
We are looking for people like that. And it's kind of the moment, like I told Jack, there was this moment when iPhone got released, and a person that I know worked at this tiny startup, WhatsApp, and they made incredible amount of money because they were in the right time, in the right place. With these things, when a new technology gets released, there's a very short window for startups because large companies are not actually are not fast enough. So the next 6 months is going to be like a way to own this X402 payment space. People should just jump. It's almost like when iPhone got released, you should have jumped into like iPhone apps and like messengers. And so this is the moment for everyone to jump and create a startup. And with us, it's also going to work with Coinbase because we understand Coinbase is the leader, right? So it's going to be really good, and we're going to help you a lot.
DM us, right? What DM the Twitter handle, Ben? Or
sure. Okay. Yeah. DM Scale something. Well, are we Scale Network? Sorry.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll probably maybe give a mini clip of this to get.
Yeah.
But hey, that we're ready. We're doing it live, guys. That's why Decrypted's so good, I think, because it's unplanned. We got real talk. The way
100%.
So guys, I have a 20-minute walk, and I have to be there in 15 minutes. Judging 15 minutes.
Yeah,
let's cut it.
Jack, you can go, and I'll talk about the hat again. So guys,
okay, close on the hat. I'm gonna run.
So we have this crazy only hat which remains. There's no hat like that anymore, built different. I have one. No one has. And then that's the last one. And I'm gonna write something really nice to the person that wins the hat. So please retweet this stream. Even after the stream finished, retweet it and say something nice about Scale, your native language. Even if you're watching this like a day from now, still you can retweet, and we'll wait.
We'll pick a winner this time next week. So
yes.
We're live on the show. We'll pick the winner of the.
And I'm gonna burn it anymore. Some people didn't see it burning, so yeah. It's burning really hard.
Maybe. It's
actually pretty hard. I mean, I'm like,
it's burning. Yeah. Okay, you set it on fire.
They're gonna hit the real hit.
Stan, thank you. It's been an interesting show. It's been fun though. X402, the future, Scale doing some cool shit. And let's keep on going. Stan, I'm coming up to 1 year next month.
Wow.
1 year at Scale. It's been a
we're gonna celebrate.
Long time. Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty.
Okay,
fun. Great. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Stan, any final words?
Yeah, life is beautiful. Well, please take a look. If you're a developer, please take a look at Machine Pay. We're going to be developing it really fast. We're looking for partners, message us, email us. Anything related to X402 Machine Pay is high priority for us. Scale. So please, if you want to collaborate, we're looking for real startup founders, for real people that want to change the world. And we're happy to partner with them. So don't hesitate to reach out to us.
100%. And thank you all so much for tuning in and joining us. I've been doing way too many live events the past week. Pleasure as always. And we will see you again next week for episode 5 of Decrypted.
Bye, guys.